The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. So we're going back to the house.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road.
Why is the game... Wait, just one second. Sorry. The game is not showing for some reason. There you go.
Had been resolved. But no sooner had my friend saved that Eastern exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of
So is this about Susato's dad then?
Most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day. Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
Coal gas?
Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
It was a Spaniard. My name is Ryonosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer just starting on my journey. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Having made a long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the active's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. I hope that's the cat. What a delicious smell wafting through up the stairs. Must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholm's suite. And say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. We're flatmates too? Are we saying hello to ourselves? No, he has more stuff now. Sholmes is so sweet. My daughter! My light, my joy. Ha, Runo, good. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. Okay. Abstruse? This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Yeah. Morning to you too, yeah. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. Stay the fuck away. Take 2 steps back right now. The truth is as clear to me as day. Oh no, it's a cloudy day today, isn't it? My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. Well, is that not the case? That's what I was saying, my dude. Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly I just washed my hair, thank you! I just washed my hair before stream. I know it's very thick and fluffy and very long, but I can't afford going to the hairdresser right now. It's gonna be fine. Summer is still a ways away. My jacket doesn't have buttons. It has a zipper. It's to catch better radio signal, Ice. It's purposeful. Clearly, when considered together, those two facts point to you have been flustered this morning. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand? My hair always looks like this. It's been this way ever since I met you. It has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. Oh! You ripped my button last night, Sholmes? Guys, I think they are roommates. Guys. Harley pulled your button off? Iris, you're too young for this, my child. Come here. Ah yes, I recall the incident. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me, and I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. This is someone on the floor. Look for it. Get a metal detector. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. But Hurley, Runo said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Ha 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 ha. Ha! That really is a surprise. Yes, this man is the pride of the British. Oh, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it gets cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl, who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, as published by Rance magazine. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Ah, well, I received a letter from Japan. From Susie, you mean? Was it? Really? That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun! Iris is the beast. I'm just going through this quietly because we already know it from the other game. Oh, there's going to be something with a fireplace. A frost place. Oh god. A cold fire, of course. A bit of a damp squib. That's an expression if I've ever heard one. Oh, poor Iris. Do you ever just drink poison because you're hungry? The Blue Carbuncle? Are you writing Final Fantasy? Oh, a garnet. No, I did not know that. I just thought he was a little guy. No, there's blue carbuncles in Final Fantasy. And yellow ones, too. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm just turning on my heat. It's a little cold today here. The sun wasn't out for long today. Haha. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess, I have no idea. Thank you, Cholmes. I think that's everything. Are you calling me a dog? Sholmes, are you calling me a dog? Are you saying I'm a greyhound? No, miniature greyhounds aren't miniature. A tiny dog with a long neck. What would that be? Nothing crosses my mind right now. A whippet. Are they tiny? Guys, I don't know if I can do this today. I don't know if I can do this today. My arm is a dog. Yeah, Sholmes, you're so right. Sometimes I do hear it barking. Yeah. The man's barking mad. Britain's pride and joy. So what's this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah yes, it's very interesting, you know? I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago, for what purpose? Because that's something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with the case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mrs. Susato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Miss Professor Mikatowa, prompting him to send that telegram. Oh, that case, yes. It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, she said, very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that? Are you sure? Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Miss Susato was suddenly told 4 months ago she had to return to Japan? This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by international post. No shit! No shit that it came from international post. Damn. Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. How is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She is very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she has written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she pretty? A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know? Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do. We helped the men. Twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago? Ah, the mustached twitchy man. With the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. Do you guys think that he had a mustache? Did he have a mustache? Did he have a mustache? I'm getting gaslit by Sholmes now. Natsume Soseki. Oh my god, he's actually a writer. Of course he's a writer. I wrote about... I didn't write about him, but I read something related to him. Yeah, Kokoro. I'm sorry. So I gotta specify, Ace Attorney. He did have a mustache, okay. Wait, what's this app? Face it. Oh, it's my icons, okay. He didn't have 2 mustaches early. Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy right now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. It's been 4 months now, since we waved Susie off at the Dover. At Dover, even. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received. Game, Game, I know my memory is bad. I know. God knows I know. But damn. That's right, telling her to return urgent. Because her father... What? Suffering from a high fever. It was just a ruse. A ruse? A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her. Lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? I have to admit I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Misusato's father is hiding. Really? Do you know what this is all about? Well, who can say? What? But you said... Gaslight! Gatekeep! Girl boss! I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, if I feel. Even if I were quite at leisure. So, mend the fart in my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Harley, don't worry. See you later. He scuttled off rather quickly there. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found them at last! Iris, are they... Notes about the case? That's right! Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Bruno? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit. Okay, I'm going to call it now. That we're gonna meet Gary Deb again, and his wife is out of jail. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. I'm unemployed! It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded in the wintry streets of London. A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san. And the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation was the man's reaction after the trial, and his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. He received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briarwood stabbing was regained consciousness. Hurry to the Barts at once. So Susato-san and I summoned Handsome? And headed immediately to the hospital. Are you sure you didn't come to Portugal? Kinda looks like where my dad stayed last year. There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Okay, keep your secret. Oh! You're late! What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made a very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what it felt like an eternity. Ah. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. In feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone... I would do this to someone. I would do this to someone. Oh no. That I alone would have been roused at such an hour. I sent one to you. I'm awake and I'm gonna make it everyone's problem. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so... The victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. Oh, she's such a little baby! You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's the lady who was found in a snow-covered pavement with a knife on her back. Her name is... Ah yes, here we are, Miss Green. I wonder why. Treatment notes, let's see. Do not feed? What? What is this place, a zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. Oh no. Oh no. For the pigeons, yes? This is a person. Poor woman, I hope she hasn't read this. It's a Venus. It's a Venus figure. Oh no, they're no game, no. Oh, a young gentleman. Same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps a young woman special someone, do you think? My mind, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had sense for the matters of the heart. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Lots of bottles. Hello, Ratty. It's Rathio for you, Susato. Vermin in a hospital. Doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen. It's very plump. At least the rats are doing well. Maybe this is a veterinary hospital and we got the wrong door. Looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Let's see. Do not permit to run around at the hospital. The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so... he or she is probably running around the hospital then. Oh dear, how worrying. What's worrying? What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. More salt cabinet. Yeah, okay. They're talking about medicine again. They're not talking about the easel? Are we just... No, we can't just do that. You know, Ryonosuke, you have a point. Good morning. Hello, I'm Ryonosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Oh no, was it your knife are you the man who... No, I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened, from her perspective, I suppose. So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndyke Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my! An Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I don't know. I see. How very interesting. Oh no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away from on the underground from here. And Thorndyke Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town centre. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of the town by comparison, dwelled by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Moustache. Inferior means? I suppose Soseki-san does fit the bill. It struck me as a somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. Sholmes, have you ever seen an art student? Any art student at all? What's this? She suddenly climbed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Oh dear me, do forgive me. If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh yes, of course, we won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick. I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that was right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean? Indeed it was, my dear madam. Spectacularly, by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, as you all know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry, I should have never regained— Oh my god! Olive! No! Oh no! We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should have been Blue, not Green. Thanks for the input. Is there a Mr. Narrowfather here? Mr. Narrowfather? Narrowfather now. I'll father you too, I guess. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo the lawyer, that's me, but... Ah, Mr. Narrowfather, good. This is for you. It's a message from a Mr. Saucy Nutmeg. Okay. Mr. Natsume sent a message to me. But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing a delivery boy at this time of the morning? What are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this? No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls, a case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lost jinx once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? I'll hail a fiacre. Can you please just say carriage like a normal person? Instead of every word for carriage in the English language. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Oh, they killed the jester! Let's go! Oh, it was the roommate, right. They lived together. The gentleman is deceased! Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Moustache. Not the horrible Erluck Sholmes. Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door. I never invited you. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I am entirely at your disposal, Mr. Moustache. What can I do for you? I just realized something. I forgot to put Iris's outfit back on. What do you mean I haven't I've literally saved my game. Okay. There. Now we're cooking. Grrr. Here they are, already. The busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Schultz. That might be the fries, though. Not gonna lie. Heh, I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive... Fucking hell, Sholmes! Fucking... Good morning, Inspector. This is a crime scene. Don't go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, Sunshine. Oi, I said hands off. You're gonna mess up my crime scene. And now I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance, I know you're kind. You mess up just by looking at it. Ugh, someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Ah ha ha ha, because there's no window. Get it? There's no window, and there's bad hair. Ha 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 ha. Alright, it sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first. And try to carry some flavor. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Willem Shamspear? Oh. Ripperoni to the English language. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss, as it happens, or just dead. Mr. Shamspear. It was the landlord, Mr. Garideb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fellow doesn't rise at his usual hour, so Garideb got worried and kicked down the door. But doesn't Mr. Garideb have a bad leg? Yeah, you're right there. It was just that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Soseki-san? The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, no friends, and his only acquaintances were the people in this house.
Well, hello.
Hi, Jeff. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He was not involved in the investigation, so you shouldn't have you sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything. Or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take his main statement for the culprit. I mean, the cohabitor. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. It certainly seems that way. He just does come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fellow's been a goner that long. The body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room was just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? What's the matter with Soseki-san now? Was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does it seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me into his room? Never. On my honor, I swear it. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched. That's why I sent word for asking for you to come. To that inspector over there. Oh, Sholmes, what do you want now? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Sholmes, I don't have the patience for 12-year-olds today. Please. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room for 5 minutes. I've already seen some things I want to inspect, but yet the game doesn't let me. Oh, wow. Shut up. I'm not even gonna read it because this is all wrong. It's like the opposite of what he's saying is it's what happened. There's a very thin point where the comedic relief character stops being comedic relief and being a nuisance. And he is passing it. He is passing it so hard. Boy, here we go. Is that butter? Soap! I don't know what's worse, actually. Eating butter by the brickful or a bar of soap? The cause of death was clear intoxication due to excessive ingestion of full soap. Sure, yeah, you're so right, Bessie. Wow. Yeah, go off, Queen. No one fucking asked. Honestly, no one did. No one. Okay, can I play the game now? No, I cannot. It's just one thing? There's multiple things, actually. Can I go back to playing with Susato in Japan and my lesbian friend? I quite enjoyed the last episode. I really did. You should have died, actually. Me with any food. What's that? Yeah, yeah, can I do my thing and we can just forget this happened? Please? Gentle? Okay, it's me now. Oh my... Are you shitting me that we have to go through this again? If I were to decide to eat some soup, I would prefer to use a fork rather... Oh boy.
Take that!
Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course. The other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap was on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. Wow. But it's obvious, really. That begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food at the table. I like his little friend on his shoulder. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and that only furnishes with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched with foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison in the tainted contents of that plate. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument. Perhaps he's suggesting that the man licked the soap rather than ate it. Soap in London is that poisoned? I don't think I would want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, food is the only thing that crosses people's lips, is it? Okay, how can I move my... Oh, you have something over there. Okay, I can't rotate more than this. A Western vessel. It's empty.
Take that!
Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the tea cup. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoneers over centuries. And it would appear that this victim would drink every last drop. There's no sight of food anywhere in the room, which leads to the multiple conclusion. The cause of death was clearly an intoxication due to ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. The cause of death is identified. We proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the deaths occurred during the victim's Last Supper. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. The Western vessel. It's already featured heavily in our deduction so far. Yes. We can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shakespeare was having a drink of tea. There would have been nothing remarkable about that, but what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when we heard Mr. Sholmes' suggested. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for more clues. No, there's another teacup.
Take that!
Did the man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that the victim's Last Supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can say for now with certainty that somebody else was here in the room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say, you know, who exactly was in this dining room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back on the halcyon days of eating too much soap. But the identity of the guest who was here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. You can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. At first glance, it seems like the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. But I overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read The Pictures of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gaboriau. Wait, I'm sure I've heard these titles before. It could have just been an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes, on the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Suzuki-san had just been to a bookshop and bought them, that's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room of the victim. Yet Mr. Natsume claims to have never been here before. What does this mean? Do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. It's empty. Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think it doesn't. No, it doesn't, really. Why are you trying to be like Sholmes Naruhodo?
Take that!
Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's no mere coincidence. The 3 titles here in this room are a link to the truth. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these 3 books 4 days ago at the second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring back the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never. No, non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could only have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. This concludes the final act of Errol Sholm's grave deduction. Not again, not again, not again. Not again. Well then, Mr. Natsume. It would appear you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard again. But... wait! Hold your horses. Door, key, locked. Entry, exit entirely impossible. He's so flustered he's even being stranger than normal. What, do you think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But... misery me. Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Moustache. You horrible Herlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but... You have to help me, please. I'm innocent. Alright, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that only honor belongs to you, of course. Of course. Well, at least that means that Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And, of course. What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Maridab, who discovered Champspear. I know. Okay. What's this? Looks like part of an envelope, I think. I think you may be right. Perhaps the torn off the letter was over. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sight of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? She's right. Yet here we are, the torn off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. I agree. We'd better take this just in case. Yeah, let's just take evidence from the scene. I'm sure it's fine. Not much. Wine glass in a bottle. Both are cracked. Oh, I was just reminding of the Reaper, that's all. Yeah, he's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking it's a waste and that he should donate some to the needy. You can suggest it next time we meet. Extravagant pipe costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with this grim shading goings on. This one looks like a king's attire. A king? I've always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you'd more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo or such like. It's a chonmage top knot. Every Japanese man wishes he had a chonmage. Yeah, you look wonderful with one. And you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a chonmage and a sword? As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property is extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think the poor have to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh! What is it, Miss Susato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh yes, it looks like as though an amateur has broken out of a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Champspear who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting into this room. Ah, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What? Outside? Brr, it's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap. It did snow last night, it would be cold. But more importantly... What's on the ledge out there? Are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined outside a window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap. Ah! You see in the middle there? There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Looks like the Hinomaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. Expensive? Then what's he doing in this ramshackle old room? And here we have another disproportionately large machine. Looks like a meter of some sign. Gas meter. Pay for gas as they use it with coins. Two hours of gas for a coin, lights and heating. If you were a poor person with no money, you would have to sleep in the freezing cold, yes. A gas wall light, doesn't it? Must be connected to a gas pipe. Gas lights, gas stove. Really? London really is a city of gas. Did they fart a lot? But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mr. Varidev had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer real fire anyway. It's much cozier. Yeah, my lungs also do prefer it. For sure. I don't have lung damage, what do you mean? Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shakespeare and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside. I'm not planning on then drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the teacups are both empty. That's true. So, one was Mr. Shakespeare's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. But Suzuki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. We're just taking all the evidence, it's fine. I wasn't finished. Looks like you're having good snub around, eh? Inspector Grabson, back so soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clink, I went to report this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this plane will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low back in the cell again so soon. I'm sure. He should probably go. And... Hi? Morning wood, apparently. That's what's wrong. Out, out, brief Kendall. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Now, how sounded the next part? It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed, oh happy day. And on that bombshell. Yeah, this is a good place to end. I already saved that, right? That's fine. I wanted to make a new save for the new episode, but I fucked up. It's fine. Yeah, that happened. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.